We're back with the Playmakers Talk Show for business owners and self-employed professionals. Once again, here's Steve Klein.
And welcome back to Playmakers Talk Show. This segment is all about recruiting, and our guest is Jeff Kaye. He's the co-CEO of Kaye Bassman International, Next Level Exchange, and co-managing director of Sanford Rose Associates. Jeff graduated from the University of Texas at Austin and entered the search profession, being named Rookie of the Year and ranking in the national top 10 account executives. In his second year, he was named National Account Executive of the Year out of a network of over 4,000 recruiters. Jeff has helped his firm grow into the largest single-site research firm in the United States, and has been named the #1 best company to work for in Texas 4 consecutive years. Jeff also founded Next Level Exchange in 2007 with a mission to elevate the competencies and capabilities of recruitment professionals with over 1,000 clients in over 30 countries around the world. Then in 2011, Kaye Bassman acquired Sanford Rose Associates, a boutique executive search network with offices spanning North America and Asia. Within 1 year of acquisition, SRA was recognized at Franchise Business Review, winning the 2013 Top 50 Franchisee Satisfaction Award. Jeff, welcome to Playmakers Talk Show.
Thanks. Nice to be here, Steve.
Glad you're here. Well, the recruiting business hasn't always had a premier reputation. At least it wasn't about 20, 30 years ago. Why did you get into recruiting right out of college?
Well, I'd love to tell you it was some incredibly motivational story, but I was a college sophomore, needed a summer job, found this company called Management Recruiters of Plano that was willing to pay me, I think, $5 an hour to highlight names in the Martindale Hubble, which was a legal directory to find good lawyers. I guess I did a good enough job highlighting names that they had me come back that next summer between my junior and senior year to actually recruit. Well, lo and behold, I ended up doing very well at it, made enough money to buy a car, and decided the world was not going to mourn one less lawyer in it, which is where I was headed otherwise. So when I graduated the University of Texas at Austin in 1989, the university that my father referred to at the time as the bar with a $20,000 cover charge. Now that I have 2 kids in school, it's more like a $200,000 cover charge. But nevertheless, I started off full-time in management recruiters, which would become ultimately Bassman International and then Kaye Bassman International. And here we are 25 years later.
Now I understand the part of the bio that you wrote where you got your 4-year degree in Budweiser.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can understand how that can happen, especially with 6th Street in Austin. Did anybody know, or let me put it this way, did you know you were a salesman?
Well, I always felt that, if you're going to advise someone on a particular course of action and you believe that the course of action that you're recommending they take is one that you have passionate about and belief in, then what's the difference between consulting and selling? Consulting and selling are just 2 different words of the same thing, but you're really advising someone on a particular course of action. I think your motive ultimately is what determines whether or not there's a positive connotation associated with that word or not.
Did you know that was the field you wanted to be in when you were in school? Or did that just happen after you went to work for that firm?
I think if you were to ask my mom in high school, she would probably always tell you that I was the guy with the story and the ability to probably get myself out of most jams. So ultimately, later in life, some of those things that got one in trouble in the early years, in a fun way, ultimately worked to my advantage, I suspect.
Well, the name of the show is Playmakers Talk Show, and that's because a playmaker makes things happen. I think it started with true football or soccer. And in looking at some of your awards, it's obviously your firm has done a tremendous amount. The firm was originally started in 1981. But since that time, you've won a lot of, again, largest single-site search firm in the country, #1 best place to work in DFW 5 times, #1 best place to work in Texas 4 times. That tells me that not only do you have good people, but you understand how to find the right people, which basically you are modeling what you're doing with your clients.
Exactly. I mean, what a good search firm should do is not only help their clients identify, evaluate, attract, and secure the best possible talent available, but ultimately teach them how to retain them, because who better knows how to retain people than the recruiters whose job it is to help motivate individuals to consider the possibility of change. So if a search firm is not very good at themselves at doing the thing that they're advising their clients to do, that's probably not a good sign. So it's always been a passion of mine, and I believe fervently that the people that we bring into our company are really my clients. So they're not employees to me. They're clients. Once upon a time when I was a recruiter and worked a desk, my job was to serve my clients. I happened to work in the pharmaceutical industry, so my clients were the major pharmaceutical companies who my job was to help find the best possible talent for them and serve them. When I transitioned off my practice and into full-time leadership, I recognized that the clients just changed the names from the companies to the people that were my organization. And if I could do a good job serving them to help create an environment where they would want to go to work every day, not have to go to work every day, where they could become better as a result of being part of that company, they could have the resources they needed to serve their clients effectively and financially have all the things that anyone would ever want as a successful search person, even owning their own business, then I did a good job serving them. So again, my job was to serve my internal clients. And if I did a good job doing that, they would remain with our organization for a long time.
So all you did was shift the philosophy from one customer to another customer. We're talking with Jeff Kaye. Jeff is the co-CEO of Kaye Bassman International, and you can go to one of their websites. We'll mention a few more in a few moments, but one of their websites is kbic.com to find out more about what Kaye Bassman has done. Now, the firm started in 1981, but you didn't get together with them until the 1990s. You bought into the firm and then eventually took over the firm. Is that correct?
Yes. Ultimately became an owner in the organization. I acquired ultimately a 49% share. Bob Bassman, the CEO at the time, was a 51% shareholder. And then in 2004, Bob elected to retire, purchased his controlling ownership interest, and immediately created a partner program where today we have over 24 owners in the organization that are the producers themselves. So we like to say that Kaye Bassman is an organization where ownership is open to everyone based on quantifiable achievement and merit, but guaranteed to no one.
And if you have ownership the way you do in your company, then as an employee, so to speak, I'm going to work a lot harder because I have a piece of this. And the harder I work, the more effective we're all going to be.
Well, I believe inherently people will do for themselves and put whatever work is necessary in order to achieve their objectives. So if you think about it, every single person, regardless of where they are, they're the CEOs of their own lives, and they decide and choose how much time they're going to dedicate to every one of their life endeavors, their professional life being one of those. And if they feel that their work is inextricably linked to their income and their success, and they have control of their own destiny, then people are going to do probably far more for themselves than they would for anyone else. So if you create a culture and environment that promotes that, harnesses that entrepreneurship rather than runs from it, and then actually provides the systems, the methodologies, and the financial plan that validates and supports that, then you create a culture and an environment where, truly the sky's the limit, or the next level is the limit, if you will.
And you just said next level, and that's what's interesting me, because not only have you taken this philosophy and worked on it with your people, but you've also taken that and expanded that to help your clients too. One of those ways is with your next level recruiting training. So you're helping not only develop the candidates, but you're helping your companies too. Well,
interestingly enough, it was about 2006. That was our most profitable year at the time. Actually, ironically, this one will be more. And had this vision, this idea of elevating the competencies of search professionals around the world. To your point originally, that not everyone in the search profession, unfortunately, has the kind of reputation that we'd all like to have. Some see us as human capital management experts, and others see us as body-snatching flesh peddlers. So I guess it depends on perspective. So our feeling was, if we could elevate the competencies of our profession by providing world-class training to the recruiting industry, then we could elevate the overall reputation of our industry. And so we literally began an organization dedicated to training our competition. So a lot of people thought we were crazy, but here we are 6 years later, and we've become the world's largest recruiting training organization and have successfully done and are doing just that.
Well, as you mentioned, that if you help everybody get better, everybody gets better, and you attract a lot more too. We're speaking with Jeff Kaye. Jeff is the co-CEO of Kaye Bassman International, with a few other companies, including Next Level, which we're going to talk about after the break. And we're going to find out exactly what they do, how those divisions started, and where they are going. I'm Steve Klein. This is Playmakers Talk Show. Stay with us. There's more to come right after this.
Where you get your news each morning matters. There are lots of choices. You can have the news spoon-fed to you, or you can get it with a dose of real people. Every weekday morning, Dave Williams and Amy Shodroff, along with the KLIF News and Information in the Morning team, bring you the stories you've said you're interested in. Not just more drive-by shootings and car chases, but news that matters. News that will affect your wallet and your life. Dave and Amy, every weekday 6 till 9 on News and Information 570 KLIF.
Imagine being
being 6 years old and confined to a wheelchair. Imagine being 50 years old with a medical condition that can't be fixed with medication. Now, imagine the same individuals enjoying a special place to ride a horse, go for a swim, or fly down a zip line. No barriers. No one stares at your disability. The no's turn into yeses. Since 1947, Camp Summit has offered a unique program which offers campers a wide variety of traditional camp activities at a facility that allows even a person in a wheelchair to ride a horse or go down a zip line. Your financial gifts help bring the camp experience to those special individuals. Help turn the no's into yeses by donating whatever you can to Camp Summit through a link on the Camp Summit website. Visit campsummittx.org. That's campsummittx.org for more information. Or call 972-484-8900. That's 972-484-8900.
Today, this very moment could be the start of something big for you. Why? Because at Cumulus Radio, we need one great person to join our sales team, and you could be the one. We sell marketing solutions like radio commercials, online services, and promotions. So, are you a creative problem solver? Experienced in outside sales? If you answered yes, then call me, Jerry Furch, at 972-708-4252. That's 972-708-4252. Cumulus is an equal opportunity employer.
I'm Jill Kumnock, CEO of the Ronald McDonald House of Dallas, which is the house that love built. Your support helps provide a home away from home for the families of seriously ill or injured children who come to Dallas area hospitals for medical treatment. Your gift, regardless of the amount, supports RMHD families so that they can focus on what really matters, their child's healing. That's why at Ronald McDonald House we say there is strength in numbers and it starts with you. For more information, visit rmhdallas.org.
I'm Lars David Staberg, General Manager for Lowry's The Prime Rib. Our Ellen's Sandwich Bar has become the go-to spot for quiet working lunches. There we offer hand-carved sandwiches and more in a relaxed, club-like atmosphere. And for meetings, Lowry's private rooms are available for both lunch and dinner. So join us for the award-winning food, distinctive style, and unmatched hospitality that has made Lowry's famous. For more information, call Lowry's at 972-503-6688.
We're back with the Playmakers Talk Show for business owners and self-employed professionals. Once again, here's Steve Klein.
And welcome back. This is Playmakers Talk Show, and we are speaking with Jeff Kaye. Jeff is the co-CEO of Kaye Bassman Incorporated, and that's kbic.com. And search is a big part of what they do. And Jeff, as I was looking through your website, I saw a number of areas. So what are some of the key areas that you focus on when you're doing search?
Well, we have a variety of industries, so life sciences, healthcare, financial services, construction, energy, management consulting, food, security. I mean, there's a lot of them. We just brought in a partner that started an education division literally on Monday. So we tend to be very specialized, and that's one of the core beliefs that we have, that you want to not only be an expert in search, to be a professional in what we do in the world of recruiting, but also specifically within the industry or the functional area in which you recruit.
So if I call up and I'm looking for somebody in energy, that person knows everything about energy in that field.
I would say that team would. And so one individual in energy might be a specialist in placing petroleum or reservoir engineers. Someone else might be involved in a different facet of energy. So each individual is going to work in some combination of, use an acronym PHIL, function, industry, location, and level. Think of being a specialist the same way that you see a physician, you don't just see a physician, you see an orthopedic physician. But you don't just see an orthopedic guy, you see an orthopedic person that specializes in shoulders, but not just in shoulders, who only does rotator cuffs. And it's that same principle that we have applied to the recruiting industry, and I think it's taken root in the concept of what we call market mastery.
You were talking to me in the break about the vision you had about your other companies. Tell us how... from 2001, actually, was another one. You started the Kaye Bassman Foundation, which I want to ask about in a few moments too. But you have Next Level Recruiting Training, 2006, Next Level Marketing Communications, 2007, Next Level Exchange, and then Sanford Rose Associates, 2011. Tell us about the vision that you had, because you began to talk about that last break in terms of helping your industry.
Well, my feeling is if you pursue your passion and you think about what vision you want to achieve, if you imagine a future that does not yet exist while planting your foot today in present day reality, and dedicate yourself towards that which you want, then all of the success and the achievements of success, the money and the rewards and all those things will come from following your passion and following your vision. It doesn't work the other way around. So when I looked in our industry, I felt that there was a void there from a knowledge deficiency perspective in terms of best practices related to search, because there isn't a certification. There isn't a 5-year school that you can go to become a certified recruiter. And so we felt that that recruiting training and helping our industry become more proficient in it was that vision and was that passion. Out of that came so many other opportunities. Because we started that, we needed to hire someone dedicated to build our site. That individual ultimately started his own marketing communications organization, which became Next Level Marketing Communications. We got hired to train a company who brought 50 of their offices to Dallas for a 2-day workshop, hired by Next Level. That company was called Sanford Rose Associates. The CEO of the organization came up afterwards and said, Jeff, I think that you guys are in a far better position to run our network than me. I'd love to just go back and be a office to run my San Francisco office. Would you ever have an interest in buying our network? Well, 6 months later we did, and now we've had the opportunity to be able to give our training and our organization and our brand spread to even a global perspective. But it wasn't the act of pursuing some strategy of acquisition or growth. It was the act of pursuing a vision and something you're passionate about. The byproduct and the outcome of that manifests itself in some of these rewards.
It's interesting when you have a strong vision, objective, goal, you don't always know how that's going to come into play. I mean, you just have that focus of where you want to end up. You don't know what's going to happen in between today and where you end up, and that's exactly what's happened to you. We tend to attract to ourselves what we need to have those things happen, and situations and opportunities present themselves to you, and you have to be open for them when they happen. That's exactly what happened to you in all your additional businesses.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, in calm waters, all captains can navigate equally, right? So it's in those tough times where you truly, people sometimes say that adversity is when character is developed. And I say, no, it's actually when character is exposed. So if you're not willing to suffer the consequences of bad decisions, you're probably never going to have the opportunity to make good ones. And I think if you look at every decision you ever make as a learning opportunity and a growing opportunity, then you see setbacks are nothing more than opportunities to learn what not to do and to dedicate your energy more effectively into doing it a little bit differently. So those are some of the successes that we've had. If you had a 2-day show, we could probably spend that time talking about the failures that we've had. But it's a willingness to take those on.
It's not the failures, it's how you come back from those failures. What was it that Nietzsche said? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
And having those things are the opportunities to do something better from that. One of the things I tell my clients when I'm working with customer service people is facetiously cause a problem with your client. And they look at me with crossed eyes. And the reason for that, as you're well aware, is if you can, anybody can do anything right all the time. It's how you handle, as you were talking about, when something goes wrong that sets you apart, which is amazing. What I was interested in when I was going through your website, which again is kbic.com. And if you want to check the other websites out, they're also on the K Bassman website. You have tutorials for not only candidates, but your clients too, to help them understand how to interview more effectively, among other things.
Yeah, through our Next Level recruiting training program, we actually made some videos that are client and candidate facing. So teaching organizations how to create a great winning workplace, teaching organizations how to hire and onboard effectively and how to retain people, or to an individual on how to write a resume, or to an individual on how to interview. So not only were we training our recruiting industry and becoming more proficient and effective in search, we're hopefully being able to help the overall populace in becoming more efficient and productive in making right matches. Because at the end of the day, there's really no such thing as good and bad people or good and bad companies. They're just good and bad matches. And that's ultimately what career growth, and that's ultimately what the recruiting industry is about, helping people and organizations make sure they find the right match.
And a lot of that for the candidate is understanding how to sell yourself and present yourself to the potential company too. I've known a lot of people that weren't hired because they were very good at what they did, just couldn't present themselves well enough. And by doing that, you're able to get that job you wouldn't have had otherwise.
Yeah, well, there's obviously the quantifiable qualifications that are necessary to perform a function. And those are things that you can look at a resume and a job description and perhaps say, did the person have this experience, yes or no? But then there's those soft skills, those behavioral traits, those elusive kinds of things that people like to say, like team building and organized and outgoing and persuasive and all these kind of words that in and of themselves don't mean anything. But if you think about it, every organization has a way of quantifying it. So hard work in one environment might mean you pull a 10-hour day. On the other hand, in a different environment, that might mean you're fired or let go because you're not working hard enough. So there's no universal definition. There is a definition of how those behavioral traits manifest themselves in an organizational culture. And it's the job of a search firm to be able to understand what those things are and help the people and companies make the right match.
Well, throughout this entire interview, you've more or less been telling us your philosophy, and that's really how your business is running. So for listeners who are listening that aren't in a position that you're in right now, that are building the companies, what suggestions would you offer to them as they build and develop their businesses?
Well, I think if you think about it, we have about a third of our life working, a third of our life sleeping, and a third of our life doing what we do outside of work. Take the sleep part out, that's a 50-50 proposition. So there's a philosophy that if work must be a place that we grow personally and spiritually as well as professionally and financially, and if it's not, then we're wasting far too much of our lives on this thing called work. So whatever it is you choose to dedicate your life to professionally, it should be something that you have passion around, something that you're willing to do whatever it takes in order to achieve success because you believe in that success. You know, Tiger Woods plays golf. Oprah does phenomenal things in the entertainment industry. Warren Buffett's a fantastic investor. All those individuals are billionaires. They don't go to work every day because they need another billion to throw on the fire. They do it because they're passionate about what they do. Well, I don't play golf. I'm certainly not going to be in the entertainment business, and I'll leave the investment up to professionals. But I recruit, and I know how to help and teach and train other people how to recruit. So that's my passion. So my advice would be to find your passion, to pursue, but to lead an integral life. And part of that means not just becoming an Olympian in your professional life. It means being a good parent. It means being a good husband. It means being a good friend. It means giving back to your community from a civic perspective, which is part of our Kaye Bassman Foundation.
Which I was going to ask you about just in the last few seconds we have. Tell us about how that was put together and what you're doing.
About a dozen years ago, we had a vision that part of an organizational responsibility would be to give back to those in the community that are less fortunate. So over many years, we've led an entirely grassroots effort. It's actually coming up in a couple weeks. Our, I think, 13th year of this endeavor, we've raised with this year what will be over $1.25 million, 100% grassroots, and 100% of the funds goes directly to charities. This year it's to Baylor Cancer Research and Muscular Dystrophy Association. But I just believe that giving back is a part of a corporate responsibility that we all bear from a professional perspective.
Very good words to end our interview on. Jeff, thank you very much for being a part of Playmakers Talk Show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Jeff Kaye is the co-CEO of Kaye Bassman International, and their website is kbic.com. This is Playmakers Talk Show. I am Steve Klein. Make sure you listen to us again the same time next week, and go to the website, which is playmakerstalkshow.com, to see the bios of our guests, past guests, and the archive where you can listen to any past show. Again, I'm Steve Klein. Thank you for being with us. See you next time.
KLIF Dallas, KSCS FM HD2 Fort Worth, KLIF.com.
A Cumulus station.